Can you watch the postseason, or you still kind of ticked off that you guys aren't there? How do you get over that, and can you still enjoy playoff baseball, which is a great thing?
Yeah, usually in the past I don't watch because I'm mad, but one of my best friends is still playing. They're still alive. Harrison Bader playing good baseball with the Yankees. So I'm following him, watching him dominate the postseason, which is fun to watch.
How about that? 3 homers in 4 games. And when you see him, he hits a home run. He does the same celebration. He's excited. He hits home plate. He does whatever he does, kind of the double hand motion up there. I'm like, man, Cardinals could have used that. But then again, you guys got Jordan Montgomery. So it's fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely fun to watch. He's a competitor. He's going out there playing hard, having fun like he did in St. Louis for so many years. And, even though he's on a different team, I'm going to still cheer for him to play well until we play the Yankees. Then I'll cheer for him to go 0-for-4 every single game.
He's a good dude, but there's an elephant in the room right now. So before you came on board with Hot Take Central, right?
No, hold on. Kiz was our first choice.
Yeah.
But
He was.
I know he was our first choice, but I'm going by the time frame.
That's fair.
Okay, so before you came on board with this show, Harrison Bader was a regular guest, and it got off to a good start. And you, Kiz, you've seen me. You know I get along great with Harrison. I think he's the best defensive center fielder in the National League. So, and I think he's a fun guy. So we like to talk about things off the beaten path and stuff. So we got off to a good start. And then, Cam, I know you like Cam.
Hi.
But at some point, Cam turned on Harrison, and then our board op Seth started having technical problems where we couldn't get Bader on the air. Next thing you know, Bader was a little sour to come on the show. I don't know if you ever discussed that with him, but you should know that between Cam and Seth, they derailed our relationship with Harrison Bader.
I'm sorry about that, Kiz.
That's funny. Well, maybe you guys upgraded to me. I don't know, but I'm sure Bader had some hot takes on here for sure. But I guess it all worked out. I didn't know he did this show. I didn't know he did it. So now I know.
He didn't either.
All right, so Kiz, this is a big picture question. You can take it any which way, and probably the way the season ended for you guys, I'm guessing is going to impact your thinking here. But as you're watching the postseason, this is a new postseason. Obviously, it was kind of weird with the whole lockout, and it's a 1-year deal in terms of kind of the structure and the timing of it. But how do you feel about you play 162, you grind it out, you win 90-plus games, you win your division, and then it's boom, it's 2 games and gone. And obviously last year was the wild card. It was 1 game, but you're seeing a lot of these 100-win teams that aren't advancing. You're seeing some of these teams that didn't have as good of a record, beating these teams. I'm going to throw it to you. How do you feel about this format?
There's definitely 2 different tales in the American League and in the National League. National League, you got 2 teams that have advanced to the championship series that wouldn't have even made the playoffs last year. And then on the American League side, you have the potential to have the number 1 and number 2 seeds, or at least all division winners playing to go to the World Series. So I don't know. It's tough to say because I think in Major League Baseball, any team can win on any given day. Everybody has good teams. Now, obviously, you like to see the teams that have won over the course of 162, the 100-plus teams make it to the World Series, but that's not always the case. It's a lot about the postseason is you have to win to get there, but also you have to be able to win in big moments. You have to be able to get hot at the right time. And I think it's good for the game. I think that just shows you how good the competition is in Major League Baseball, that on the National League side, there's 2 teams that were 5th and 6th in the National League now competing to go to the World Series. So I think it's good for baseball. I think, obviously it makes that journey to the World Series a little bit tougher, especially if you're a team like the Dodgers with 110-plus wins. But, it's a battle. Anything can happen in the postseason.
So, Kiz, I was watching that Mariners-Astros Game 1. Mariners are up 4-0. They get to Verlander. Then they're up 7-3 in the 8th. And they lose that game. Yordan Alvarez hits the homer. And it felt when I was watching it like a game that they weren't going to be able to emotionally overcome. They ended up getting swept. The last game was 18 innings. But I have to say, I kind of felt the same way in game one with you guys. I was up in the press box, and just the way that game ended. Now, obviously, you're facing Aaron Nola the next day anyway. That's not an easy task. But that just felt like such a crushing loss. It was tough to overcome. I mean, emotionally, how were you guys after that game?
You know, I think emotionally we were fine. Obviously, we'd like to hold on and win that game, but you know, I think a lot of us were just excited and happy that it wasn't a one and done scenario like the previous year against the Dodgers. So we knew we had a chance. We knew that, you know, obviously winning a series is tough to do, especially when you lose that first game in the way we lost it. But we knew we had an opportunity, and that's all you can really hope for, is just have that opportunity and hope you can bounce back. I think emotionally we were fine. We were in good shape. I don't think there was any panic. We knew we had Miles going for us game 2, so we knew we were going to be shut down right there. And, you know, we knew we were going to have to scratch and claw. Just, you know, we just didn't quite, you know, get it to come through there. But I think emotionally we were fine.
So I don't know if you've heard from him, but Waino tweeted out sort of an explanation as to where things got off track for him. He had talked about the dead arm, and he said it was his stride that was short, that put too much stress on his arm. I've said all along, if I were a betting man, I'd put money on Waino coming back. So I'm going to put you on the spot. Based on Waino figuring out, in his mind, what went wrong, based on the fact that when you guys were bounced, he talked about not being part of it and that not sitting well with him. I'm reading the tea leaves, and it's just a guess. I think he's coming back. What are your thoughts?
You know, I don't think anybody knows what he wants to do other than him. But I'll tell you what, he was so good for us this year, consistent, 200 innings of really shut down baseball. You know, you look at his last, one or two starts that weren't quite up to his expectations. But, you know, if you take those 2 starts out, you know, everybody's going to have a couple bad starts. His just happened to be at the end of the year. But you look before that, he's right there hovering around a 3 ERA. I mean, a guy that can go out 200-plus innings with a 3 ERA, that's a workhorse, and that's exactly what he was for us this year. That's what he's been for the last however many years he's been at Cardinals. So, you know, I think he definitely can come back, be a good starting pitcher, produce well for us. And, you know, I think if he decides that next year is his last year and he comes back, I think he definitely deserves that send-off that Albert and Yachty got this year. I think that was special, and I think at least for the fans of St. Louis and the fans of baseball, they should enjoy, you know, his send-off in his last season.
So just to be clear, and also so we can put a headline on this when we tweet out the segment, are you hoping Waino comes back? Give us that at least.
You know, like I said, it doesn't matter what I hope for or want or don't want. I think he's a leader on this team. I think he provides stability in the clubhouse. I think he can produce. I think he's got bullets left in him. I think he's got a lot of bullets left. So I would love to see him back competing and really guiding this team next year, hopefully back into the playoffs and a little bit deeper.
So the headline is Knizner says, I'd love to see him back competing and leading this team to the postseason. Fair?
You can put whatever title you want on it. I'm a Waino guy. I'm a Waino supporter. I love that guy. He's the best. And obviously, I hope he could play 10 more years for the Cardinals. That would be awesome.
Hey, let me ask you something, Kiz. I was watching the Guardians and Yankees the other night. Who was the guy that hit the bomb?
Naylor.
And I like all the chirping. I like that Kiz here and there, but I think he went a little too far. He's like, I'm your daddy.
Way too far.
I'm your dad. If he did that to say Waino, and he's cruising around, would you say something to him when he came around home plate, standing there?
You know, that's a touchy subject because I'm all for playing the game with emotion and having a good time. And, you know, if you hit a home run, you know, I'm flip your bat. Hey, this is a game. That's competing. That's the way the game's going. I don't have a problem with, you know, a little celebration. You know, you see guys in the NFL score a touchdown, they're dancing. Yeah. Right? That's a part of sports nowadays. It's just how it is. I think there is a line, though, that you can cross and do too much. I think that might have been too much, in my opinion. You know, if you want to do a little something, okay, that's fine, but do it with your team. Don't kind of single a guy out. You know, I felt like he was singling out Garrett Cole with the stuff he did and the stuff he said. It was borderline disrespectful, in my opinion. I don't know if I would have said anything. It's a playoff game. You don't want to start a fight and have ejections or anything like that because, you know, something winning the game is bigger than causing a problem. But maybe in the regular season, you would have to say something like, "Hey, you got to knock that off. That's disrespectful." But yeah, it's a big moment. I get it, but it's just I think it went a little too far.
They still lost too.
I mean, plus he's a tough. But we know what I noticed, and I think the difference is, and you kind of touched on it, is like when a player hits a homer and then like does stuff toward his own dugout.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone's like fine with that, right? The pepper grinder, you're doing it toward the dugout, not the pitcher, right? That's the difference, isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, every team has their own little inside celebration or whatever you want to call it. They all have their own things, and we had our pepper grinder. We had stuff earlier in the season. We've had stuff in the past. You know, if you do it to your dugout and you're just enjoying the moment with your brothers, with your team, with your coaches, that's great. Hey, I'm all for it. Have fun. But when you push it past that and go disrespectful to the other team or the pitcher, that's when it starts getting like the other team can start getting agitated a little bit. And you just don't want to do that, especially on such a big stage like postseason baseball with millions of viewers.
Yeah.
So, Kiz, after the season, are there exit interviews? Do you sit there with the coaching staff or management? Do they kind of lay out what they want you to do in the offseason? Or are they telling you, hey, we want you to come compete to be the starting catcher? How does that go?
You know, there's conversations throughout the whole year of obviously stuff you need to work on with your individual coaches, with your catching coaches, with your hitting coaches, with the pitching coaches. Everybody has, you know, an idea going into the off season of what we need to work on, what you need to do to get better. But that's the part about being a professional athlete. You need to be able to look at your season, figure out, okay, I need to do this better. I need to keep working on this because I did really well on this, so I need to make sure I don't lose whatever that is. So it's all about reflection, making adjustments, setting a plan, and figuring out in the offseason how can I get better at what I need to get better at, and then taking it into spring training and testing it out. So it's just a never-ending cycle of adjusting and competing.
Yep, I get you, bud. Hey, man, appreciate you coming on. Great as always. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy Florida, and we'll talk next week, big boy.
Thanks, Kiz.
Sounds good. I'll see you guys.
See you,
See ya.
buddy. Andrew Knizner.
It's kind of like this show, you know, like we reflect.
Yeah, man.
We figure out the things we need to do better. In my case, nothing. You know, but I mean, each one of us has things to work on, and it's a process that we're always working toward.